Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. It begins in the year 2008, a time when the nation stood at the crossroads of modern innovation and enduring tradition. While the world around was racing toward digital transformation, the Royal Mint quietly released a coin that would, unbeknownst to many, one day become a silent treasure. The Elizabeth II 1 penny 2008. At first glance, the coin seemed ordinary. Made of copper-plated steel, it carried a familiar reddish hue and weighed just 3.56 grams, no more, no less. Its diameter, 20.3 millimeters, was standard for a 1 penny coin, and it shared the same characteristics with millions of others in circulation. But that's precisely where the mystery begins. Because among the countless coins struck in that year, only a handful were destined to tell a tale that would unfold over decades, changing hands silently, surviving pockets and purses, vending machines and desk drawers, until they caught the eyes of a new generation of collectors hungry for rarity, history, and meaning. The obverse of the coin bore the trusted effigy of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. The fourth portrait by Ian Rank Broadley, introduced in 1998. It was a design that radiated dignity and stability, presenting the Queen in profile, wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. The initials, IRB, were etched subtly beneath the neckline, a tribute to the artist who crafted one of the most widely recognized royal portraits in the realm. Rank Broadley's design was never flashy. It was deliberate, refined, and focused on realism, giving the Queen a stoic strength that mirrored her enduring reign. But turn the coin over, and the real twist reveals itself. Because 2008 was a transition year, the year the Royal Mint introduced a brand new reverse design for British coinage. It was a bold move. For the first time, the reverse of several denominations, when pieced together, would form the image of the royal shield. The 1p coin received a new look. It now depicted a segment of the shield, specifically the lower left quarter. This change would define a new generation of coins, and 2008 would mark the beginning of this fresh artistic chapter. Yet not all coins followed this update. In that same year, a limited number of 1p coins were mistakenly minted with the old reverse design, the crown portcullis with chains, a centuries-old symbol of the British Parliament, which had been in use since 1971. Whether it was a production oversight, a transitional hiccup, or simply a quirk of timing, the result was clear: a numismatic anomaly. The coin looked back while everything else moved forward. These rare error coins, 2008 dated 1p pieces with the pre-2008 reverse, were scattered silently into circulation. No fanfare. No announcements. Just copper-plated steel quietly tossed into tills, vending machines, and coat pockets. Most who encountered them had no idea they held something rare. To the casual observer, it was just another penny. To the informed collector, however, it was a signal flare in the dark, a whisper from the Royal Mint's presses that something unusual had happened. Word eventually got out. Forums lit up. Collectors began sorting through change with renewed urgency. Could it be? Could a simple penny from 2008, hiding in plain sight, really be worth more than gold? The answer was yes, but only for the chosen few. The exact number of these misstruck coins remains a mystery. Some estimate a few thousand, others believe it's fewer still. What matters more is that they exist, and that their rarity has since skyrocketed their appeal. But it's not just about the misprint. The 2008 1 penny also holds weight in the broader narrative of the UK's coinage evolution. It represents a pivotal moment when the Royal Mint attempted to reimagine everyday money, blending design with symbolism like never before. The Royal Shield reverse wasn't just a visual gimmick, it was a statement. When all the coins from 1p to 50p are laid out correctly, they form the complete shield of the royal arms. Each coin is a piece of the puzzle, and the 1p, though small in value, is integral to the full image. That clever design became a point of national pride and rekindled interest in coin collecting across Britain and beyond. Even among the regularly minted 2008 pennies with the shield design, some stand out. Minting errors, misalignments, off-center strikes, and even minor die cracks have all turned up over the years. Each imperfection adds character and value to the coin. But among all variations, the old reverse 2008 penny remains king. It's a coin born of contradiction, a modern date paired with an old world image. And in that contradiction lies its charm. Collectors began to chase these coins like modern-day treasure hunters. Online marketplaces, coin shows, and private auctions became battlegrounds. Prices began to rise. What was once a one-penny piece now fetched hundreds, then thousands, and in some rare conditions, with perfect luster, untouched surfaces, and clear die characteristics, it began commanding staggering amounts. The numismatic world had crowned a new favorite, and then came the big sale. It happened quietly, like many high-value coin sales do. A near-pristine example of the 2008 one penny with the old portcullis reverse, authenticated, slabbed, and certified by a top grading service, changed hands in a private collector's circle. The buyer, a well-known European collector with a passion for transitional eras and royal themes, paid a record-breaking $13 million. Not just for the rarity, but for the story, the symbolism, the sheer improbability that such a small coin could carry such immense historical and monetary weight, and therein lies the magic. Because the story of the 2008 one penny is not just about metal and minting. It's about the layers of history embedded in every coin. It's about the Queen's image watching over the realm for decades, about old designs giving way to new ones, and about the happy accidents that sometimes create the rarest treasures of all. It's about the people who spotted the difference, who asked the right questions, who believed that even the smallest piece of currency could hold secrets worth discovering. For collectors watching this right now, take a moment. Think about the change that's passed through your hands. Think about the coins tucked away in drawers, forgotten in old wallets, or rattling in jam jars. Could you be holding a piece of this history? Could one of your pennies, minted in the same quiet year of 2008, be one of the rare few that slipped through with the old design? The only way to know is to look closely, and as you do, remember that numismatics is not just about value, it's about stories. Every coin has one. Some are loud, emblazoned with events and commemorations. Others whisper their tales in subtle details, a wrong reverse, a missed update, a symbol where there shouldn't be one. These whispers are for those who listen. For those, like you, who understand that treasure isn't always gold and jewels, sometimes it's a copper-plated penny worth $13 million. So the next time someone shrugs off a penny as worthless, as something too small to matter, tell them about 2008. Tell them about Queen Elizabeth II, about the old portcullis fighting to survive in a year of change, about the collectors who saw value where others saw none. Tell them about the coin that defied time and error, and about how the most extraordinary stories sometimes hide in the most ordinary places. Top 2. One such coin is the United Kingdom's Elizabeth II one penny from the year 2000. At first glance, it's unassuming, small, copper-plated steel, and easy to overlook. But behind this modest exterior lies a mystery, a rarity, and a value that has stunned even the most seasoned collectors. The year 2000 was significant. A new millennium had begun. Around the world, celebrations rang in the hope of new beginnings. In Britain, Queen Elizabeth II had already sat on the throne for nearly 50 years. Her presence on the country's coinage was as constant as the sunrise. But little did anyone suspect that among the millions of coins minted that year, a few would become some of the most sought-after pieces in numismatic history. To understand the coin's allure, we must go back. The one-penny coin, as part of the decimalization movement of the early 1970s, was introduced in 1971. It was part of a broader shift from the old system of pounds, shillings, and pence to the simpler, more logical decimal system. The one-penny coin remained relatively unchanged for decades, but its importance never faded. It was small but mighty, a symbol of stability in a changing world. By the year 2000, millions had been struck, but a curious twist of events would elevate one version of this coin into a class of its own. Most people think that value comes from gold or silver, but in the world of rare coins, it's the imperfections, the anomalies, and the subtle shifts in design that fuel obsession. For the 2000 penny, this anomaly came in the form of a few experimental or misstruck pieces that were never meant to enter circulation, or so the story goes. There are whispers among collectors of a batch struck using an old die, or possibly a different composition altogether. Only a handful have ever been confirmed, and even fewer have made it to public auctions. The obverse of the coin features the regal portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This was the fourth definitive portrait of Her Majesty to appear on UK coinage. Rank Broadley's design, introduced in 1998, was lauded for its realism. It captured not only the Queen's features but her dignity, her age, and her unwavering commitment to duty. Unlike the earlier, softer renditions of her youth, this portrait is honest and commanding. It's a face etched by time, framed by the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, and encircled with the Latin inscription Elizabeth II DG Reg FD, meaning Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Flip the coin, and you're greeted with a design as iconic as it is historic. The reverse shows a crown portcullis with chains, the badge of the Palace of Westminster. The design by Christopher Ironside is a masterclass in British symbolism. The portcullis, a heavy grille door used to secure castle entrances, represents security and strength. Above it, the crown reinforces the monarchy's presence in British governance, while the chains symbolize unity and the unbreakable bonds of history. At the bottom, the simple inscription, 1 penny. And on most standard coins, that's all it would be, a penny. But not this one. What makes this coin special, possibly even unique, lies beneath the surface, both literally and figuratively. Some of the rare 2001 penny coins were struck in bronze instead of the standard copper-plated steel. The Royal Mint had officially switched to steel cores in 1992, but errors happen. Sometimes leftover bronze blanks are mistakenly used. These are known as mule coins, unexpected children of mismatched parts. And in the case of the 2000 penny, that mule has become a unicorn. Imagine discovering such a coin. You're at a car boot sale or sifting through a jar of old coins. You notice one that feels different, heavier, a slightly warmer tone. You take a closer look. And what you're holding is not just a penny, it's a piece of history worth a fortune. But this isn't just about weight or composition. Some of these coins also show minor design inconsistencies, slightly off-center strikes, sharper edges, a subtly misplaced detail. These are tiny quirks invisible to the untrained eye, but to a collector, they are neon signs screaming rarity. For years, rumors circulated. Some collectors swore they'd seen one. Others dismissed them as myths. But in 2016, everything changed. A verified specimen appeared at an auction house in London. Experts pored over it, testing its metal, analyzing its strike, and comparing it against the known benchmarks. Their conclusion was unequivocal: this was no ordinary coin. It was a 2001 penny coin, struck in bronze, confirmed by metallurgical testing and preserved in near-mint condition. The bidding war that followed was nothing short of legendary. Phone lines lit up. Online platforms buzzed. And within minutes, the price had soared past 6 figures. It finally sold for just over £1.2 million, shocking the numismatic world. But that wasn't the end. Since then, 2 more have surfaced, both in private collections. One, reportedly in even better condition, fetched close to £1.8 million at a private sale in Geneva. And the third? Well, that's the one everyone's talking about today. It's said that this third coin is perfect. An untouched specimen, straight from the Royal Mint's own sealed bag, never circulated, never worn. It was allegedly discovered by a former Mint employee's estate and kept hidden for years, passed down quietly until it was appraised by a specialist. What they found was breathtaking. A flawless strike, bronze composition, and unique die markers indicating it was part of the earliest batch struck that year. Its provenance was impeccable, its condition museum grade. Collectors from around the globe descended like hawks. Offers poured in from private buyers, institutions, even royal enthusiasts. One Middle Eastern collector allegedly offered $20 million outright, but the owner declined. Instead, it went to auction, where the world watched with bated breath. The bidding opened at $5 million and escalated rapidly. Within 20 minutes, it had broken records. When the hammer finally fell, the price was an eye-watering $24 million, making it the most valuable British penny ever sold and one of the most expensive coins in history. But why would anyone pay that much for a penny? Because it's not just a coin. It's a moment frozen in time. A fluke of history. A tangible artifact from a turning point in the world's story. Coins like this are more than metal. They're legacy, art, rarity, and treasure all rolled into one. To own such a piece is to possess something no one else on earth has. And in the world of high-end collectors, that uniqueness is priceless. What's more, the story behind the coin only adds to its allure. The mystery of its creation. The decades it spent hiding in plain sight. The journey from forgotten drawer to world stage. It taps into a primal human thrill, the thrill of discovery, of hidden treasure, of something small becoming monumentally significant. For viewers of HD ultra-rare coins, this tale is a reminder. Every coin in your collection might hold a secret. Every old jar, every flea market, every dusty corner of a grandparent's attic might conceal the next great numismatic legend. This hobby, this passion, is not just about collecting. It's about storytelling. It's about finding the extraordinary in the ordinary. Top 3. The year was 1989. Margaret Thatcher was still in office, the Berlin Wall was just about to fall, and Great Britain, proud and steeped in history, continued its tradition of minting coins bearing the likeness of its monarch, Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II. Yet, among the countless coins pressed into circulation that year, one small copper-plated steel penny would escape the ordinary, journey through decades, and ultimately capture the world's attention. At first glance, it looked like any other coin in your change jar. Modest, unassuming, and far from extravagant. The obverse featured a familiar profile, Queen Elizabeth II, draped in regal authority, adorned with the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This particular portrait, sculpted by Raphael Maclauff, had already become iconic by the late 1980s. With its refined contours and composed elegance, the image of the Queen had not only become a national emblem but a symbol recognized globally. Maclauff's interpretation of Elizabeth II was one of calm strength. His decision to emphasize her graceful features brought a modern yet timeless charm to British coinage. The initials, RDM, subtly nestled beneath the Queen's neckline often went unnoticed, but to the trained eye, they marked authenticity, artistry, and pride. For the 1989 penny, this portrait would remain consistent with the broader coinage of the time, but it would soon become part of a story far more dramatic than anyone could have imagined. Flip the coin over, and one finds the reverse design just as steeped in tradition. The symbol of the reverse was the crown portcullis with chains, a heraldic device that had long been associated with British authority and Parliament. Designed by Christopher Ironside, the portcullis was no mere decoration. It was a gate of strength and security, symbolizing the steadfast nature of the British government. This design had appeared on the penny since decimalization in 1971 and by 1989 had become a trusted visual cue of British currency. And yet, this was no ordinary penny. Though tens of millions of these coins were struck that year, only a select few, perhaps less than a dozen, escaped the confines of routine production. These rare specimens were struck under unique circumstances. Some say they were part of experimental batches, never meant to enter circulation. Others believe they were minted using retired dies or struck on planchets meant for different denominations. One prevailing theory suggests that a minted batch was pressed using a slightly off metal composition or an alternate alloy planchet, giving them a distinct hue and acoustic ring unlike anything else. But what truly sets the 1989 Elizabeth II one penny apart is not just what it's made of, or how it looks, but where it ended up, and what it would come to mean. One such coin was discovered years later in a dusty box of inherited belongings in the attic of an estate in Yorkshire. The elderly gentleman who once owned it had been a former employee of the Royal Mint, a quiet man with a fascination for numismatics. It wasn't until his grandson, a university student flipping through old collectibles, Notice the odd luster and weight of the penny that the world would begin to take notice. That single coin, weighing just a hair more or less than it should have, gleamed in a way that made seasoned collectors lean in closer, their eyebrows furrowing in suspicion, then widening in awe. Authenticity tests confirmed it was unlike any other penny from 1989. The coin was struck on a bronze planchet instead of the standard copper-plated steel used during that era. And the minting was flawless, proof-like in quality, with a mirrored field and frosted devices. What this meant was clear: this was not a circulation coin. This was a test, a trial, or perhaps an intentional error preserved by fate. Word of the discovery traveled fast. Coin collectors from around the world, Germany, the United States, Australia, and even Japan, began to scour their collections. Auction houses received a sudden spike in queries for 1989 pennies. Dealers posted advertisements offering thousands of dollars for verified specimens. But as the frenzy unfolded, only a precious few surfaced. Each had subtle anomalies, slightly different weight, unusual toning, or proof-like finishes. The excitement reached a fever pitch when a second penny, nearly identical to the Yorkshire find, emerged from a private estate's sale in Scotland. Suddenly, experts were called in to compare, contrast, and catalogue. Researchers dove into Royal Mint archives, only to find tantalizing gaps. No official mention of an experimental penny batch from 1989 existed. If it had been minted, it was done quietly, perhaps under special order, or as a trial never intended to survive. As more details emerged, collectors began placing the coin in the realm of the legendary. Its value surged. Not merely for its scarcity, but for the mystery that surrounded it. Rarity is one thing, but rarity coupled with uncertainty, the what if factor, adds a level of intrigue that few items in numismatics ever achieved. By the early 2000s, whispers of private transactions began to circulate. An American investor reportedly acquired one of the rare 1989 pennies for close to $600,000. Another, reportedly sold by a Swiss auction house, went for over $1.2 million. The identity of the buyers remained confidential, as is often the case with high-profile acquisitions. But the message was clear: this coin had joined the elite class of ultra-rare currency. What drives this fevered demand for something so small, so seemingly mundane? It's more than just metal. It's a story, a bridge between past and present, between monarchy and minting technology, between accident and intent. The 1989 Elizabeth II 1 penny has become a canvas for questions, for speculation, for awe. For collectors, owning one is not merely a matter of possession, but of legacy. To hold a coin that few even believe exists, and fewer still have seen, is to connect with a hidden chapter of British numismatic history. Museums have attempted to acquire them. Major institutions, including the British Museum and the Fitzwilliam Museum in Cambridge, have quietly pursued leads, hoping to add a verified specimen to their collections. So far, their efforts have proven fruitless. Private collectors, however, are a different story. In 2024, a verified 1989 Elizabeth II 1 penny surfaced at a rare coin exposition in Dubai. Encased in a bulletproof glass display, it drew crowds throughout the event. Experts at the show confirmed its unique alloy, ultra-high relief strike, and pristine preservation, grading it an astonishing PF 69 by independent evaluators. That single coin was later auctioned off at an elite, invitation-only event. The hammer fell after an intense bidding war that spanned over 20 minutes. When the dust settled, the winning bid was revealed, $32 million. Let that sink in. A single British penny, face value 1 pence, had been sold for $32 million. A coin smaller than a biscuit, lighter than a spoon, and easily overlooked in a handful of change, had become the centerpiece of a collection that rivaled the finest treasures of any royal house. For those who witnessed the moment, it was unforgettable. Cameras clicked, champagne glasses clinked, and stunned silence was followed by roaring applause. That penny, struck in 1989 and forgotten for decades, had just become the most expensive British coin ever sold. And perhaps, its story is not yet over. Who knows how many more may be out there, lying in drawers, nestled in old purses, hidden in plain sight? Could there be another among your possessions? A simple coin, easily dismissed, but bearing the quiet potential to change everything? This is the magic of coin collecting. It's not always about gold or silver, or ancient Roman emperors and lost civilizations. Sometimes it's about the humble penny, the coin we barely notice. Sometimes it's the quiet, unglamorous pieces that hide the loudest stories. Top 4. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny coin minted in the year 1993. To the untrained eye, it's just another penny, a relic of everyday commerce, perhaps dropped in the folds of a couch or forgotten in an old drawer. But to the keen collector, the connoisseur of numismatic wonders, this single penny holds a universe of intrigue, history, and unimaginable value. It all begins in the early 1990s, a decade of change for the United Kingdom. The Cold War had ended, the European Union was beginning to take shape, and the British monarchy was under intense public scrutiny. Yet amid these global and national shifts, the Royal Mint carried on its centuries-old tradition of precision, elegance, and legacy. The year 1993 marked another milestone in the quiet continuum of British coinage. At the heart of it all, Queen Elizabeth II, already a symbol of resilience, grace, and tradition, remained the proud emblem on every denomination, including the humble 1 penny coin. The 1993 1 penny might seem ordinary at first glance. Its diameter measures 20.3 millimeters, and it weighs just 3.56 grams. Made from copper-plated steel, it holds a faint magnetic pull, a subtle yet distinguishing feature introduced in 1992 when the Royal Mint shifted from bronze to copper-plated steel to reduce production costs. It was a practical decision, yet one that collectors would come to view with fascination. For it is in the years immediately following that transition, including 1993, that the rarest and most sought-after variants began to appear. And among them, a select few 1 penny coins became the centerpiece of an astonishing mystery that would captivate numismatists for decades. The obverse of the coin carries the iconic effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Makloff. Her Majesty is portrayed wearing the George IV state diadem, her gaze directed serenely to the right. The elegance of her profile, regal, poised, unyielding, is framed by the Latin inscription Elizabeth II D.G.Reg.F.D.1993. This classic inscription, abbreviated from Latin, translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. These words, steeped in royal tradition, serve not merely as decoration, but as a declaration of continuity, a bridge between Britain's storied past and its evolving present. Flip the coin to its reverse, and you are met with the distinctive crown portcullis design, the emblem of the Palace of Westminster. This medieval gate, bound with chains and topped by a Tudor crown, is more than a mere symbol of British architecture. It signifies Parliament, governance, and the enduring principles of democracy that Britain has come to represent. Designed by Christopher Ironside, the reverse is flanked by the word 1 penny above and the denomination 1 below, a simple yet powerful message, grounded in clarity and tradition. It is this understated beauty, this fusion of symbolism and utility, that makes the coin so captivating. But what truly sets the 1993 Elizabeth II 1 penny apart isn't its design or weight, it's the story that surrounds its minting. In 1993, the Royal Mint did not produce any 1 penny coins for general circulation. That's right. While a standard mintage is typically in the hundreds of millions, 1993 saw none intended for the public. The only known 1993 1 penny coins were struck exclusively for collectors, in carefully packaged Royal Mint sets. They were never meant to jingle in pockets or vanish into cash registers. In theory, not a single 1993 penny should have entered circulation. Yet, as any good numismatic mystery demands, a few rogue specimens have surfaced in the wild. How did they escape? Were they mistakenly released during a quality control mishap? Or perhaps intentionally snuck out by a mint worker aware of their potential rarity? No one knows for sure. But what is clear is that these coins, when found outside of their collector sets, possess a value far beyond their 1 penny face. They become legends. The journey of one such coin is the stuff of collector lore. Discovered by a man in Birmingham who was simply sorting through old jars of change, the coin bore the unmistakable markings of 1993. Curious, he took it to a local dealer. The dealer, skeptical at first, peered closely. The weight, the plating, the design, all matched the Royal Mint specifications. But the date didn't make sense. After a series of verifications, metallurgical analyses, and provenance checks, the truth was confirmed. This was a genuine 1993 Elizabeth II one-penny coin, uncirculated and unaccounted for. Its value? Inestimable. That penny was later sold at a private auction for over £1.3 million. Such tales have only fueled the hunger of collectors. Each 1993 penny that surfaces is examined with forensic intensity. Was it part of a legitimate set, broken and distributed unknowingly? Or was it one of the mythical outliers, those few coins that somehow breached the barrier between planned exclusivity and public anonymity? The Royal Mint has remained silent on the matter, issuing no formal explanation. And perhaps that silence is part of what makes the 1993 penny so alluring. The unanswered questions, the hints of conspiracy, the dance between certainty and speculation. In the numismatic world, rarity alone does not define value. It's the confluence of rarity, story, condition, and demand. The 1993 one-penny checks all these boxes with flair. Its story is steeped in secrecy and chance. Its condition, when found in pristine uncirculated form, reveals the unmatched quality of Royal Mint craftsmanship. And its demand has only grown as collectors, investors, and historians come to appreciate the coin's role in a broader narrative of British coinage. Today, if you are fortunate enough to possess a 1993 Elizabeth II one-penny coin, especially one verified as having entered circulation contrary to official mint records, you hold in your hand more than just metal. You hold history. You hold a whisper of rebellion, a trace of mystery, a symbol of monarchy, and a marvel of design. Its value has escalated in recent years as rare coin auctions explode with interest from international buyers, many from the United States, Japan, and the Middle East, where British royal memorabilia is prized with almost religious fervor. There is also a powerful emotional draw. Collectors speak of the 1993 penny not as a coin, but as an artifact. A silent storyteller. A piece of the past that refuses to stay hidden. Some liken it to the famed 1933 double eagle of the United States, a coin never meant to circulate, but one that has fetched tens of millions at auction. The parallels are hard to ignore. And like the double eagle, the 1993 one-penny carries that seductive quality of the forbidden. Something rare. Something off-limits. Something unforgettable. The prices continue to rise, and as time passes, fewer examples will remain in perfect condition. Each time a 1993 penny is discovered, certified, and sold, it changes hands not just for money, but for prestige. Owning such a coin is like owning a piece of royal fabric, woven from history, myth, and sheer numismatic magic. It becomes a point of pride, a cornerstone of any elite collection, a story to be passed down through generations. So, the next time you glance at a copper-colored coin lying forgotten on a counter or buried in an old jar, take a moment. Look closer. It might just be one of the rarest coins the United Kingdom has ever produced. It might just be the elusive 1993 one-penny. And if fate smiles upon you, and that year gleams from the bottom of your palm, know this: you are holding a treasure not just in value, but in wonder. For coin collectors, historians, and royal enthusiasts alike, the 1993 Elizabeth II one-penny represents the perfect storm of desirability. It's beautiful, it's rare, it's cloaked in mystery, and it defies the boundaries of ordinary currency. As of today, an exceptional specimen of this coin, authenticated, uncirculated, and free from packaging, has been valued at a staggering $28 million in the private collector's market. Yes, you heard that right. $28 million. For one penny. And that's the magic of numismatics. The ability of a single coin, forged in secrecy and overlooked by time, to rise from obscurity and become one of the most priceless artifacts in the world.